Good morning, friends.
Good morning.
I have a question for you today. What images do you think of when you hear the word cycle? Are there any shapes that come to mind? Mallory?
I was going to say think of my bicycle.
You think of a bicycle? Okay. Amy?
A circle?
A circle? Okay. So, has anyone heard of the water cycle before? Mallory?
I've heard of it before.
You've heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Amy, have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
No? Alright, well, we're going to start learning about what the water cycle is today. So to get us started, I have this chart up for us to fill out, and it is a KWL chart, which stands for what students know, what you want to learn, and at the end of the lesson, we're going to write down what you have learned. So can I have a volunteer tell me one thing that they know? Obviously, Mallory might be the only person that can answer, but
About what I know about the water cycle?
yes.
I know that there's
It doesn't have to be a right answer, just anything that comes to your mind when you hear that.
I know that rain is a part of the water cycle.
Okay, that's a good one. Now, Amy, you kind of already gave me something that we could use whenever you told me what shape you thought of for cycle, so maybe you could use that to answer. What do you think a cycle means?
Oh, like maybe how like water changes forms
Okay.
in a circle.
Okay. Changes forms in a circle. I like that you said that.
And you can use a circle to show how it changes forms and it gets back to its original form.
Okay. Does anyone, Mallory?
Since the water cycle is a circle, it means that the water goes around and around the circle in its different forms. Like it never stops.
Okay, good. It never stops. I like that. Another word we could use for that is continuous. So I'm going to write that on our chart. It's a continuous cycle. Does anyone else have anything they want to add to that? What about something we want to learn about the water cycle today? Mallory?
I want to know all the forms that water can be in.
Okay, that's a great thing to want to learn about. All the forms. Amy?
The order that it goes in,
Okay.
the order that the changes happen in.
Can I get one more thing that you want to learn today? Can be anything. Amy?
Like where the cycle starts and where it ends.
Okay, good. Okay, so these are all good things to think about during our lesson today. Now, we're going to become scientists and do a little experiment together. So, what I want to have us do is, we're going to be representing the water cycle through our experiment. So to start, we're going to need to create an ocean in this, and we're going to use hot water, which I have ready.
Wait, guys, I'm supposed to watch the video.
So we're going to put the hot water in this bowl. Now, can someone tell me what kind of water is in our oceans? It's not fresh water. Amy?
Salt water?
Good. So we're going to add salt. Do you want to do that?
Sure.
Okay. Doesn't have to be a set amount, just add some salt in there. Like a decent amount. You can keep going a little. Okay, that's probably good. Now, Mallory, this is going to represent our land. Do you want to put that in the ocean for us?
Just anywhere?
In the center is good. Careful, because it's hot. Okay. Now we're going to put some saran wrap over the top of this, and that's going to be our clouds up in the sky. So I'll do in 2 layers. I'll do the first layer, and one of you can do the second. Does one of you want to add the second layer on top? Amy, okay. Now I'm going to grab our ice cubes while you're doing that. Now these ice cubes are going to represent the cold atmosphere above the clouds. It's going to help with our experiment, which you'll see in a little bit. So this has to sit for at least 10 minutes. We're just going to put it to the side for right now. And while it's sitting, we're going to watch a short video. And I have a worksheet with some guiding questions that I want you to fill out as you watch the video. Here you go. You can just put your name at the top whenever you get that. Oops. Amy, can you see this from where you're sitting?
Yes.
Okay.
Ah, it's raining.
Oh, and I wanted to clarify, in this video he's saying water vapor, but he says it with a little bit of an accent, so it might be hard to understand, but that's what he's saying. So you know.
Hey, have you ever wondered where the rain comes from? Or how the clouds are formed? Well, this is what the water cycle is all about. Come, let's explore. Zoom in! When the sun heats up the rivers and oceans, water becomes water vapor, and it rises up in the air. This process is called evaporation. It is the first step of the water cycle. You too can see water vapor at home. Just tell your mommy to heat some water. And as the water gets heated, you'll be able to see the water vapor rising up in the air. When the water vapor reaches up in the sky, it turns into tiny droplets of water. These water droplets, along with various gases and dust particles,
I'm going to pause for a minute to give you guys some time to get your answers written down. Let me know when you're ready for me to keep going, because I know it's a little bit fast.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
come together to form clouds. This is known as condensation. Now, hold a cold lid over the vessel in which you heated water. When you open the lid after some time, you...
I think I missed when he said what are clouds made of.
Okay, can go back a little bit.
reaches up in the sky, it turns into tiny droplets of water. These water droplets, along with various gases and dust particles, come together to form clouds. This is known as condensation. Now, hold a cold lid over the vessel in which you heated water. When you open the lid after some time, you'll be able to see water droplets on the lid. That's exactly what condensation is. When the cloud becomes too heavy and it cannot hold any more water inside, it bursts open to give out rain, hail, or snow. This is known as precipitation. As it rains, water gets collected in oceans, lakes, and rivers. It even seeps through the soil and becomes groundwater. Thus, water cycle is a continuous process of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. Trivia time! Did you know that even plants sweat? That's called transpiration. That's why it rains more in places with more trees, like hill stations and forests. Sometimes snow directly turns into water vapor without melting into water. That's called sublimation. This happens a lot in cold countries. Oh, I need to run now. It's raining again. So this is me zooming out. Tune in next time for some more fun facts.
Okay. Now, I just want to go over some of the questions on our worksheet to make sure that we're all on the same page. Was there any that you didn't get that you want me to go back for on the video? Yes?
I didn't get all three things that make up the continuous cycle called the water cycle.
Okay, let's go back and see if we can find that answer.
Cycle is a continuous process of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. Trivia time!
Thank you.
You're welcome. Amy, once you're done, I'm going to give you two a chance to talk together and discuss your answers to the questions. Okay, you guys can go ahead and talk about your answers.
Okay, for number one, I said water vapor.
I just said vapor, but
I think that's okay. I think it's the same thing.
okay.
For number, oh, sorry.
It says, what does water turn into?
Is it a vapor? Yeah. What did you have for number two?
Evaporation.
Me too. What about number three?
And I said the clouds are made of water droplets and gases. I think he said something else, but I missed it.
Yeah, I just said water droplets, but he did say other things. I think gases and dust.
Yes, Mallory, you're correct.
For number four, I said condensation.
That's what I have.
For number five, I said rain. It starts to rain.
Yes, I said it rains.
For number six, I said precipitation.
Mhm.
And number seven, the three things are evaporation, condensation, and precipitation.
Okay,
I had that too.
okay, we're all good?
Mhm.
Alright, now let's look back at our experiment. So now that we know a little bit more about what the water cycle is from our video, can anyone make a prediction about what's going to happen with our experiment? Once we take the saran wrap off, does anyone have a guess of what you're going to see? Mallory?
There'll be condensation.
Okay, good. We can, if we look at it right now, we can actually see there's a little bit of condensation on the saran wrap. Do you guys see that? Those droplets on top?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's actually underneath the saran wrap, but the hot water rose up, which created the water vapor, and then there's condensation sitting on the saran wrap.
Oh, that's neat.
Amy, do you have any other predictions or?
So will the condensation then maybe form water droplets in the little bowl?
That's a really good thought. Let's find out. So we need to take off these ice cubes. Okay, so as we
Miss Mackenzie, I think I see evaporation.
Yes, you do. You see that steam and vapor rising, and you can see the condensation all along the side of the bowl. Now I want you to take a close look in this little bowl. You see what happened?
Mm-hmm.
What's in there?
Water.
It's like it rained in the cup.
Exactly. So what happened is, to explain it with the terms of the water cycle, the ocean water evaporated and hit the cold atmosphere, and this combined with the clouds formed condensation, and when the condensation got so heavy that the clouds couldn't hold it anymore, it precipitated back into the little bowl, which is the land, which is basically the same thing that happens whenever it rains.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Careful,
Can we
it's
get a
really
towel
hot.
to wipe this up?
Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna give you each a sheet of paper, and you're going to be creating a diagram of the water cycle. And we're gonna hang these up in the classroom once they're all done to look at for the rest of our unit. So, I wanted to mention a vocabulary word to you that wasn't in the video that I want you to use in your diagrams, and that is collection. And basically, collection is where all the precipitation goes, so in oceans or on land. So whenever you're looking at this diagram, which gives you an idea of what I want you to draw, this would be where the collection would go. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I have this visual that you can look at, and I've covered up the words. I have a list of the vocabulary words, but I want you to try to do it without them, and then if you end up needing them, I can help you. Okay? So here is a sheet of paper for each of you. I have markers. Now you're allowed to work together and discuss while you're creating these. And if you have any questions, just ask. Yes?
Should we make ours just like that one?
It doesn't have to be exactly like that one. That's just an idea of how you can draw it to help you. But if you want to do it a little differently, you can.
Okay.
You can also use your answers from the video to help you. Please make sure your names are on these before you turn them in. They both look very beautiful. I like what you did. And they're not exactly the same, but you both got the right idea with them. I'll collect those from you. Thank you. And I'll also take your worksheets from the video. Okay, now I want to look back at our chart from the beginning of the lesson, and can I have someone tell me something that they've learned today about the water cycle? Amy?
I learned that evaporation is the first step in the water cycle.
Okay, good. So you said that you wanted to know where the cycle starts and ends, and you know that evaporation was the first step. So did you learn today what the last step is in the cycle?
On the video, he said that the last step was precipitation, but then on your sheet with the words, it listed collection as the last step.
Okay, so for that, what I want to say is that because it's a continuous cycle, there's not really a starting and ending point because it keeps going. But I think what you're saying is the first step and then kind of the last step and where it starts back up again. So I would say that the last step would be collection because that's where the precipitation is falling down to. So we'll put that on here. Mallory?
We learned that the steps, like in the middle of that, are condensation and precipitation.
Okay, good. And we have written on here that you wanted to learn all the forms that water can be in. Does anyone have an answer for maybe one form that water can be in? Mallory?
Water vapor.
Good. Water vapor. Amy, can you think of one form that water could be in? Think about the forms of precipitation.
So it can freeze and form like a solid ice.
Good. Ice is definitely one form of water. And what about whenever it's really cold and it rains? What do we call that? When rain freezes? What form of precipitation is
snow.
that? Good. Okay, so we are going to continue with the water cycle tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining my lesson.